It's not just fixed, though. And this, to me, is the issue. It's how quickly can it abate due to supply-demand pressures that are concentrated versus a sea change in an economy.
This is the most contentious debate in global economics right now. We're going to have it through the morning on this program. Equity futures down 12 on the S&P. We're negative just a little bit. We're down about 1/4%. No drama here. Elsewhere outside of the equity market, your bond market yields are higher, 4 or 5 basis points higher on 10s to 148.13. But that's the nominal yield. Tom, you keep bringing up the real yield. The real yield is deeply negative further out the curve.
There's a big debate on this, John, and I know you're going to garner that on Friday afternoon if we go to a record level, is, well, this is the nominal yield minus whatever you believe inflation is, and that is the residual or inflation-adjusted yield. What's critical here, John, is there's two moving parts.
Elisa, you mentioned crude. We're down about 0.6% on WTI, 83.67.
Yeah, we didn't get that announcement yesterday that a lot of people were expecting of the U.S. releasing some of the strategic petroleum reserves. Key question of what the trigger will be, and also the idea of potentially supply overwhelming demand a bit more than people had expected based on the U.S.'s own projections come next year. Highly contentious, highly uncertain. As we've been talking about all morning, 8:30 a.m., the big number of the day, U.S. October Consumer Price Index expected to rise at 5.9% year-over-year inflation. That would be the fastest pace of consumer price rising going back to 1990. Key question in my mind is how this dovetails into the labor market. And because we are getting a data dump today rather than tomorrow, which is, of course, a holiday in the United States, 8:30 a.m. also, we will be getting U.S. initial jobless claims. I find this fascinating. A post-pandemic low expected in the people filing for benefits for not having a job. But if you take a look at real wages, we're still seeing negative real wages, basically on an inflation-adjusted basis, still below where we saw going back all the way beyond 2013. How do we dovetail these two into a growth picture, or lack thereof, going forward? And today, President Biden is trying to sell his bipartisan infrastructure plan. He's off in Baltimore. He'll also be talking about how this could potentially affect longer-term supply chain disruptions. John, this doesn't address necessarily the shorter-term issues, which clearly are on President Biden's mind, considering the fact that he called the CEOs of several major companies yesterday to say, what can I do to keep the shelves stocked ahead of the holidays so that people can get their presents? It seems like that is an increasingly political issue.
The politics of the moment. Lisa, before you go, I've been excited to get your reaction to the RiviVan IPO. $11.9 billion IPO, biggest of the year so far, $76 billion valuation on that company.
Throwing money at hope. That, to me, is what it seems like, because it does seem like electric vehicles are the future. But why will this company have any kind of upper hand to Ford, to General Motors, let alone Tesla, in getting supplies, in getting manufacturing, and then being able to sell it at a competitive price, let alone distribution channels, John?
We can talk about this through the morning. Tom, here's a company that only just started delivering vehicles a couple of months ago. Delivering vehicles a couple of months ago, and it has a $76 billion valuation.
John, you see all sorts of stupidities out there. Somebody had one of these like SPAC deals, which was, in jest and frankly not appropriate, I don't think, for family TV like this. But it is a silly season. Every silly season is different, but they're all the same at the same time, where it is this strange word, speculation. They're not investments.
Are you willing to call this silly then? They've got massive backers, Tom. Amazon, Ford in the mix as well. Are you willing to call this one silly?
Yeah, Enron had massive backers too. Or, WorldCom down in the Deep South a million years ago. I don't want to cast aspersion on this, John.
I think you just did that, Tom.
No, I just think it's a silly season. Someone was out yesterday with a classic tulip bubble analysis. I don't want to go there. What I want to say is we're going to chronicle the story. And, John, you go to the heart of the matter, which you should put a $70x billion price tag, or value, I should say, on, as Lisa correctly says, hope.
Do you think it's part of a broader issue? That's the debate I want to have this morning. Just because you think you found a casino, Tom, does it mean we're in Las Vegas? I think that's the conversation we've got to have about this broader market.
Some of our viewers and listeners, including our first guest, aren't in a casino. They're like worried about, what am I going to do when I'm a fossil? I mean, I'm years away from that, John. But, I'm sorry. Speculation is not investment, and that's what we're talking about here.
Margie Patel joins us now, Senior Portfolio Manager at Allspring Global Investments. Margie, can we just start with inflation in America? The range of estimates is actually pretty wide. At the top end, 6%. At the low end, 5.4%. We're looking for something in and around 5.9%. Margie, what are you looking for at 8:30 Eastern Time?
Well, we think something in that range is probably appropriate. And we do think that we will see inflation tapering down